What did you almost go to jail for 8 years for?
Man, it was fucking awful. And, this is in the gnarly special where I talk about how I got arrested for stapling my balls to my leg. But
Right.
in fact, there were two charges. One was felony obscenity, because this was in Louisiana, and in Louisiana, there's not counties like there are in the states. There's parishes, and there's like sort of religious overtones, and like like the New Orleans is this wild Mardi Gras party out of control. But once you get outside of New Orleans, Louisiana's pretty fucking crazy in the way they operate. And I had a show outside of New Orleans in Louisiana in 2002. And during this show, a couple things happened. I stapled my ball sack to my leg, and as I did this, and this is with the old tour, which I promoted by saying, "I will be drunk and on drugs, or your
That's a
money back."
guarantee. Yeah.
Yeah, or your money back. And every show on stage, I would get drunk, fucking on stage pounding tequila out of the bottle. I would have audience members fucking chugging bottles of tequila. It was a fucking liability central shit show.
Right.
And I was on drugs every time. And as I was covered in blood, like every show I was covered in blood. I was barfing all over the stage, like, because I would break a light bulb over my head and slash my tongue, so I was bleeding all over myself. This was every night. It was every fucking night, and I would staple my balls to my leg during the show. Like, I'd be set on fire. I'd be pissing into pissing into a cup, and I'd be like, "Who wants to drink my piss?" And people would be like, "Yeah."
No.
So I'd bring people out. Yeah,
Oh
people
my
would be jumping
God.
up and down. Who wants to get kicked in the nuts, dude? It was a fucked up circus, dude. And at one point, at the point that night in Louisiana, when I was stapling my balls to my leg, I just happened to say into the microphone, I said, "This is not art. This is strictly to be offensive." I don't even know why I said that, because it's totally art, And somebody in the crowd was videotaping, right? Now, it wouldn't have been a big deal, like the stapling of the balls to my leg while I was covered in blood, saying that I was just trying to be offensive. But at another point in the show, that bottle of tequila that I mentioned, I had it sitting on the stage, like towards the front of the stage. And at one point, somebody kind of crawled up onto the stage and grabbed the bottle. Now, the bouncers noticed this happening. They fucking zipped over with lightning speed and fucking incredible efficiency and fucking got that bottle back from this person. I was impressed by the bouncers' response to this theft of my tequila bottle. These bouncers, as it would turn out, were football players for the local college team, which I think was a pretty successful college team. Well, in any case, these huge bouncers impressed me. So just off the cuff, impromptu,
Yep.
I said to the crowd, "These bouncers are fucking badass. Who wants to try to run across this stage past the bouncers?
Oh God.
We'll call it British Bulldog, and they're ready to fuck somebody up. Who wants to try it?"
The bouncers were all into it.
Yeah, they were down, man. They were super down, and everybody wants to do it. But this one kid was just jumping higher than everybody else. He was just all excited, and I just could see the kid's excitement. So I said, "You." The kid was like, very small. He was, I think, 19 years old. And I orchestrated the whole thing. So the kid lines up, and I said, I'm filming it. I said, "On your mark, go." Whatever. So the kid runs. It was pretty anticlimactic. The kid just ran right into the bouncers, and they grabbed him, right? But as an afterthought, sort of, and clearly on the bouncer's own initiative, two of them together, they lifted this kid up in the air and fucking body slammed him on the stage.
Whoa.
And like they body slammed the kid like largely onto his head. And the kid was knocked out,
Whoa.
unconscious. He was just twitching on the stage,
Holy
unconscious.
shit.
I think he was like bleeding out of his ear, it was a fucking pretty bad scene, man. It was a pretty bad scene. And the whole purpose of the clowns in the circus is for when when somebody falls off the trapeze or whatever, the clowns are supposed to run in and divert attention. You know, that was like the whole purpose of clowns, you know, like the show's got to go on. The clowns come in, be like, hey, you know, we're good. Yeah, we're all, you know, so I've got this like built in, the show must go on. And so, dude, the kid's twitching on the stage and I say into the microphone, or whatever, the kid's being loaded into an ambulance at that point. And I go, that kid's on a stretcher being loaded into an ambulance. Is that what we came here to see? And everybody's like, yeah, you know, it was just not good. So the kid who, the person who was videotaping this performance was, you know, felt like, okay, I've documented something with this camera that's probably like, and they gave it to the news. Then when they gave it to the news was like, oh, well, this isn't as much of a news story as a crime. And then so the news passed the tape onto the city attorney, and the city attorney was like, oh, well, fuck this guy. And so they charged, and by the time the charges were filed, I was back in Los Angeles, and so they put me on the fugitive list, right? But here's the thing, that the fugitive, I landed at number 1 on the fugitive list by a mile, dude, because the fucking they set my bail for the charge of principal to second degree battery. You know, it was a felony for orchestrating the thing where the kid got slammed on his head. And they set the bail for that at $200,000.
Wow.
Or was it 120,000? 1.12, $120,000, I think it was, or 1.2. Yeah, I don't know. Something like that. But they also charged me with felony obscenity for stapling my balls to my legs. It's the parish, and they're like, you know,
How
this
is that
obscene.
a felony? A felony obscenity? I've never heard of such a charge.
Well, right. I mean, there have been notable charges. Jim Morrison was charged with felony obscenity in Florida, I think, for showing his wiener on stage. Lenny Bruce was charged with felony obscenity. 2 Live Crew was famously charged with felony obscenity. So that charge added me to the list of American heroes.
Fantastic. Yeah. And good company.
Right, and they set my bail for the obscenity charge at a full $1 million.
Jeez.
So I landed on the felony fugitive list with like 1.2 million or 1.12 million, I'm not sure which, dollar bail. And that's the highest bail. I was number 1 on the list. They scooped me up and took me to the LA correctional facility.